I'll welcome you guys back into my next video over here. Understand that what's important every single day is understanding that no matter what you're doing, you must understand popularity is silence. So those who every single day are really, let's say, popular, you must understand every single day those people are people who are really prospering around communication work, and they're really doing something that's really helpful. So every single day you understand that no matter what you're doing every single day, you must be focusing on being more silent than other people. Because when you're more silent than other people, you're going to focus upon making sure that you can communicate in a way that you become much more silent than people around you. I realize now, what are some nice, beautiful differences where you can be silent? I realize either way, let's say you want to play music at a hostel party or somewhere around the world. You must understand, although, that they are playing their own music. I realize that what you do over here, you must understand that if you're playing music around your area where it's silent, and now you have to understand that when it's silent, you must be alone. You can then play your music even while you're sitting down. Do you understand? But if you're walking somewhere in terms of life, you must understand you can play your music alone. But if you're with a crowd while you're playing music, you are now the loudest individual in the crowd. And this means that everybody will hate you. You understand? So, for example, when I go busking, I realize that what happens is I have to amplify everything and I have to be heard the most. I realize now, because I'm promoting myself along the way, you must understand that very little people will follow me. Little to none. The sense of what happens here is understand because they're jealous. You must understand it's because they hate myself because I'm something much more than them, because I have a louder voice than them. Whereas my ego, when I speak on an amplifier, you only ever hear me in the whole shopping center. You understand? So that's why they hate me. You understand? Although, if I go to busking and I never ever amplify anything, but I just sit down and just promote my Instagram, and I just sit down in silence, but the whole crowd around me is much more louder than I am. I realize that what happens is they become happier because they see someone who's more silent than them. And then what happens is that when you're more silent than people, you are then much more popular, because it's much better to understand that because I'm so silent, they want to find out about me. Or else all of them, every single one of them wants to follow me and see my Instagram at least, or my YouTube. You understand? But when I'm amplifying my sound and I'm speaking above all the crowd, or else none of them want to even go on my YouTube channel. You understand? None of them want to even go on my Instagram. They are never even interested in terms of what I have. Why is that? Because I'm talking over them. So even if you're singing over people, or else if you're singing over people at a busking performance or doing a rap concert or something like a busking event, you are speaking up much more than people. And even if you're doing Tai Chi with music in the background, you're the loudest one there. Yes, you're in the spotlight. You have the spotlight. Yes, you're boosting your confidence. And yes, you're around people. Yes, you're promoting yourself, but guess what? Or else that's not ever how you become popular. Or else how you become popular is understanding that you switch off the amplifier at the busking event. Switch everything off and sit down or stand around while you promote your Instagram, while you're listening to YouTube channel and you're reading something along the way with earphones, and just promote your Instagram and promote your YouTube, because that's what I do. I promote my Mega Drive as well, or else that's the only three that I ever promote. Although understand that now I can play some music with myself in my earphones and nobody else will hear me except I, because I'm the quietest one out of thousands of people and in the spotlight. I'm in the spotlight, but I'm the quietest one. Everybody sees me the same way. Or else now, either way, you must understand that when I'm amplifying my sound, and everybody can hear me now, everybody can see me. Or else they can see me regardless of whether or not that I pump up my music audio or public speak on audio with an amplifier or not. You must understand that what's amazing is, let's say I turn off everything in terms of my amplifier and I just go silent and I never say a word, but just keep everything to myself but I'm very silent around the crowd. But in the spotlight and in the center of attention, I realize because I'm silent, I realize that because I'm silent in front of a crowd of around over 10,000 people, and because I'm silent, I realize they'll recognize right away, regardless of whether or not I speak and amplify the whole room. In a sense, what's amazing is be the quietest one around your family, and be the most quiet one, and follow the silence. So when you understand that when you follow the silence, I realize that what happens, you realize quickly that people will respect you more when you never topple them in sound. I realize now Jesus Christ goes around, for example, back in those days, talking up the loudest. Or that, realize this, that because he's the loudest one and everybody can find out about him. I mean, he's the loudest. I mean, Jesus Christ back in those times is only ever amplifying the speaker around everybody's household, day and night. I mean, you understand? I mean, all you ever hear is Jesus music pumping everywhere. And it's loud music. I mean, that's all you ever hear. You must understand, that is why they went and done that to Jesus. Because Jesus turns on the portable speaker and puts the biggest sound that you can ever hear of God around everybody. And they are just sick of it. I mean, they hate it. You understand? Or else they cannot sleep. Or else they are miserable to hear another individual's sound who's louder. Because when you're so loud, in terms of you must understand that when you're so loud like that, and you're louder you're louder like that than other people, you then get the same treatment as Jesus Christ. Understand? So realize that if you're in the spotlight today, you can only ever be popular by remaining more silent than the crowd. You understand? Or else now, if you're more popular, you never get louder. You never get louder in terms of speaker and audio around other people, because that irritates them. You understand? Or else it irritates them because they want to be the loudest in terms of audio. But understand, God says here, you must be silent, because you must do the opposite of Jesus Christ here, if you understand, to never ever go and be very loud like Jesus Christ, but be very loud like Jesus Christ in silence. Understand? So realize that Jesus Christ is very loud, without silence and with silence, together. Understand? But do this. You must understand that you be very loud like Jesus, but only in silence, and never in anything in terms of life where you're busking and you're the only one on the streets always teaching people. You understand? Whereas now, you must be always teaching people. You must always be teaching people, but what's amazing is be the quietest one like Jesus can be. Because when Jesus is very quiet, otherwise people can never hate him. Otherwise now, if Jesus is so quiet and silent, otherwise Jesus never shows up in front of the crowd, does he? Otherwise Jesus never shows up in front of the crowd. So how can anybody kill Jesus Christ when Jesus is so silent? You don't even notice Jesus. You can never even notice Jesus if Jesus is so silent. I realize, although, that you can do anything, but what's amazing is understand that the truth shall set you free. I promise you, although, if you really want to become the most famous in life without having to be afraid of yourself and other people, you must be the most silent. You must understand that anybody who's louder in the crowd is the most egotistical. I mean, every single time I go to my busking events, for the past 102 courses that I've done, and I have over 102 videos. You understand? I realize that's 102 hours. Although I have over 150 hours on the street, busking, and amplifying my sound above people. I realize they all hate me. I realize one individual came to hit me. You understand? I realize some other ones in Brisbane had to physically touch me. I realize other people had to physically touch my microphone to tell me to shut up. And also other people had to come and grab my business cards and throw it away. In a sense, so either way, Or else what's important is to understand that when I went promoting myself in Brisbane, I went to paste all my business cards everywhere. And in silence, I did this. I did this in silence, and it's the best way to get popularity today. Although, guess what happened? Or else the cleaners came around and they say, hey, we just pick up everything that you just are posting around over here. And they say, are you going to clean it? I said, yes. Or else they say, you must have a license to do this. You must have a license. And although they're really, let's say, lying right here, that you need a license to go and posting all these business cards everywhere around Brisbane in terms of all the poles. So what I did was I grabbed myself in terms of life. I went and I really got those nice, beautiful blue tacks. And what happens is I invest in those blue tacks, and then I went around Brisbane posting my business card everywhere in terms of those posts, but I did it in silence. And now because I did it in silence, I realized other people came here to say that they want to kill me. You understand? I realize now, you must understand that this over here means that it's very unusual for this to happen. You must understand that what this means is I never do it again. You understand? You must understand I never do it again because people out there literally want to kill me if I do it again. You understand? I realize now they came to the silence of my life to tell me that. You understand? So it's not like I went around amplifying everything. Or else I never went around amplifying so everybody can hear me. In terms of audio with my portable speaker, I never stood in front of the crowd to do that in busking performances in Brisbane. But I did do it in a tunnel over there. Although before that, I went around posting all these business cards everywhere. Silently. I mean, with no sound. I mean, it's the best promotion, isn't it? I realize, although, that somebody, in terms of the cleaners out there, just come randomly to me to tell me that they want to kill me, literally. In a sense, I realize they disallow me to promote myself in silence. I mean, in silence. So what do? I'm already promoting myself in silence right now. I mean, they are against that. I mean, they are against I promoting I in silence. You get it? So if they're against my silence, or else they want to kill me. You understand? I mean, how else do you promote yourself if not in silence? You understand? So what happens here is I have to leave Brisbane and go elsewhere. But what's amazing is to understand that it's the best move. Or else that's the best you could do. I mean, it's the best move where you can go around and get the license or something like that. But guess what? I realize that they never care about that. I realize it's for free. You can go and promote yourself for free everywhere in silence. Or else somebody may come up to you and say, this is my spot. You understand? Although guess what? You just be quiet. You understand? So what's amazing is understand that when other people never want you to promote yourself in silence, or as when other people never want you to promote yourself in silence, I mean, what else do? You walk away, right away. Or else if you're walking to the shopping center and they say, you must never walk here again, because if I see you around here doing that again, or else we'll kill you. I mean, you're just walking to the shopping center in silence, but they are against that. You understand? So that's what I felt from these rubbish collectors over there. Whereas they just went around picking my promotional tags to throw in the rubbish. You understand? I mean, on their own regard. Although they're doing a 9-to-5 job. You understand? But in silence, you must understand. Whereas now they are going against everybody here. You understand? I realize they're even going against God. You understand? I realize that what's amazing is they are unaware of that. I mean, they are unaware that their job is to clean something else other than my promotion. You understand? Whereas they took it upon themselves to go picking up my promotions as rubbish. You understand? Whereas now tissues on the floor or rocks or something like that, or something that's a bottle, I mean, pick up that rubbish. I realized that my promotional tags are not rubbish. I realized my promotional tags are never rubbish, but they consider that rubbish in silence. You understand? So it means they want to kill me, but it's very quiet. You understand? So either way, that's a beautiful way to understand that you must go around your city today and go promoting yourself and place all these business cards everywhere. You understand? And do it in some other city. You never have to do it in Brisbane. You can do it in Sydney if you want. You go and post all your nice, beautiful tags everywhere, or else somebody will see them. You understand? Although what's amazing is just go and do it again and again and again. You understand? So every single day, you have to understand what's amazing is focus on making sure you understand that you can also go to busking performances today and get yourself a $14 license, or let's say get yourself the biggest license you can. And what you do is just go around Sydney or anywhere around the town or city or country and stand where people are in silence and just be dancing in silence like this and look at your nice, beautiful promotion there. But you're in silence, you understand? And now, if somebody comes up to you and says, I never want to see you here again, because if you come over here doing this now, you have to understand that they have to push themselves to kill you. You understand? Why do you promote a little baby? Why do you have to go pushing somebody who's promoting themselves in silence to never do it? It's because you want to kill them. Whereas now, if I see you next to Woolworths, for example, and you're posting a sign like this saying, I promote myself and I love myself, and you're doing it in silence and you have all your social medias there, and I come up to you and I say, hey, I've seen you a few times over here. I promise you, although I want you to remove yourself around from here, otherwise something's going to happen and I never want you to be here. I promise you, although I want you to be here. Understand? But guess what? What's amazing is I never do that to you. Understand that what's amazing is nobody can go against silence. If you want to be famous, you have to go in silence. You never go loud. You never go being the loudest one with the voice. You understand? You be the one that's the quietest with the voice. You understand? Whereas now, if you're the quietest, I promise you, people are unaware that you're famous. You understand? I promise you now, if you're the loudest and people recognize you are the famous one, I promise you, they come and kill you. You understand? Whereas now, what you need to do every single day is focus upon understanding that it's never a dangerous world if you're more silent. But if you're more loud and you're louder than other people, then I promise you that it's always, always dangerous. I realize that what you can do today to help your life is make sure you go promote yourself in silence everywhere. I realize now, for example, what I've done recently here at the hostel in Newcastle Backpackers. I realize I have a speaker and I have loud sound. Although I went to the swimming pool and I placed my nice, beautiful promotional tags on the fence so that all the backpackers can see. And I put my business cards there and I put my portable speaker, but they're playing their music on some shitbox speaker. I play my music on this massive speaker, you understand? Or they're playing it on some bullshit speaker. Or now what's amazing is understand their speaker is maybe 10 centimeters. You understand? Or there's no bass line, there's no sub bass in it. Or although my speaker is so loud. You understand? But what I've done is I turn on the nice beautiful portable speaker in silence and I go into the swimming pool. And they're like, I realize he's a YouTuber. And they're saying, he's a YouTuber. He does YouTube. You understand? But I'm already popular. They're talking about me already. You understand? But they're happy for me. You understand? Although, now, either way, you must understand that when somebody tries to call me, I never try to, let's say, look at them. Unless they say, Danny. Or else then I may turn around. You understand? Or else now when they call my name, or else I just turn around and I look. You understand? Because either way, now what's amazing is if you decide to never even react to that name, or else you become even more popular. You understand? Because your real name is just the word I. So realize your actual full name today is the word I, and never the name that your parents gave you. Whereas your name is never the parents' name that you have. Your name is never your name. Your name is only the word I. You understand? But I went and I did a reaction to my name, for example. Although I'm already popular anyway. And so realize that what's amazing is try to ignore them totally. Because you're already popular. You understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, when you're on the table with people, and I mean, let's say there's 1,000 people. I mean, be the one in the corner. I mean, go to the corner. I understand, although that people have said over here that the one that goes to the corner of the table never gets married. I promise you, although that's all bullshit. You understand? I mean, be the one who goes to the corner of life. You understand? You go to the corner and sit in the corner alone. You understand? I mean, sit in the corner alone and let them talk. You understand? You let them talk while you're at the corner of the table, and all you'll be doing is look at the phone. You understand? I mean, just look at your phone. I mean, be so quiet to never even talk to them. You understand? I mean, never even talk to those people around you. Because why? Because you must put your head down and work on yourself. You understand? So what's amazing is you're never supposed to be on that table. You're never meant to be on that table in the first place. Or else if you find yourself on a table with people, and it doesn't matter if it's a marriage table. I understand either way that when people get married, or else they may choose 24 people to stand on top of everybody else. You understand? Or else they go to a big function, and the bride and groom sit in the middle of the big table, like some gods or something like that. You understand? So what's amazing is understand you never be on that table. You understand? You never be on that table. Because if you're on that table, or else you're wasting your time. You never be in the function of another wedding. You be at your wedding. I mean, why do you want to go on? Why do you want to go into other people's businesses for? I mean, who cares if it's their wedding? I mean, who cares if you grew up with them 30 years? I mean, who cares if you are best mates for 60 years? I mean, who cares if they chose you to be a godfather? You understand? I mean, guess what? Or else when they call you, you go your way. You never even pick up the phone call. You understand? Because what this does is, or else it makes you more popular. But if you go around them, and you're always around them, or else they hate you. You understand? Or else they hate you so much. Because what did Jesus do? I mean, Jesus was always around the Israel people. I mean, always around them. And he's the loudest one, isn't he? Or else he's the one that's teaching everything. And they hate it. You understand? Or else now I'm teaching you, go away from that. You understand? I'm teaching you to understand Jesus Christ and to follow Jesus Christ. Or else follow everything that Jesus Christ is doing, except being so loud. Or else now be so loud in silence. Or else now understand that Jesus goes towards the crowd to be loud. I'm teaching you to go away from the crowd to be loud. You understand? I mean, guess what? Or else, yes, Jesus is God. I follow Jesus. I follow all the 10 Commandments. You understand? But guess what? Or else if you want to end up like Jesus, you then go exactly like Jesus and do exactly as Jesus does, and then they will kill you. You understand? I promise you, if you just follow Jesus all the way through, and you always be the loudest one, I promise you they will kill you. You have to understand Mahatma Gandhi, for example. Do you understand why they shot him? You have to understand that he became somebody who made India independent. Why? I realize it's because he was always going to them to teach them about why. You understand? I mean, Mahatma Gandhi was always going to the British and in those courts and sitting in those courts and talking it out with them. And he's always in the spotlight. And he's the best one. You understand? I mean, he's teaching everybody everything. You understand? And yes, I mean, India became independent, but at the cost of his life. You understand? I mean, why? Because Mahatma Gandhi chose to be very loud. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi chose to be loud like Jesus. You understand? I promise you now, if you're Mahatma Gandhi or Jesus Christ, you go talk everybody into going away from people. Because if Mahatma Gandhi is so smart, like Jesus, you must understand that everybody's smart. Or to understand, I never want you to get killed. I never want you to go and die. You understand? So realize that what's important is understand, yes, I understand Mahatma Gandhi and Jesus is big leaders. But I'm teaching you a better way of life. I mean, guess what? I mean, the best way of life is understanding that you can raise your voice and just die. Even just being you. And that's Jesus Christ and Mahatma Gandhi. But you can do the same thing. And you never have to be around the crowd. You never have to be around the crowd. And you can still be popular and have everything you ever want. You understand? You can still have everything you ever... I mean, what would you rather have? I mean, would you rather be around the crowd and be popular, but be the loudest? Or would you rather be away from the crowd and be the quietest, but be the most popular? I mean, what's the difference? I mean, this one you're loud, but this one you're quiet. I realize now Mahatma Gandhi and Jesus Christ chose to be loud and be popular. Understand? I realize now, listen, you must understand, Tupac chose to be loud and be popular. And that's why they could get assassinated. You understand? I mean, they died because of somebody. I mean, Biggie's the same one. I mean, Biggie went loud. I understand Biggie and Tupac have this big rivalry, but either way, whereas Biggie as well is somebody that went loud and popular. You understand? Although, who is quiet? I mean, who is quiet and famous and popular? I mean, look at Theodore Roosevelt. I mean, look at Nikola Tesla. I mean, they're very quiet. I mean, look at Albert Einstein. He's very quiet and popular. I mean, look at the Buddha. He's very quiet and popular. You understand? So Jesus is very loud and popular. I mean, the Buddha is very quiet and popular. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi is very loud and popular. I mean, guess what? You understand either way that Albert Einstein is very quiet and popular. You understand John F. Kennedy is very loud and popular. And then they get killed. You understand? Although, you understand either way Nikola Tesla is very loud in terms of, I mean, Nikola Tesla is very quiet, but popular. You understand? I mean, look at Elon Musk. I mean, that guy is quiet. You understand? I mean, look at Elon Musk today. I mean, the guy who's flying spaceships everywhere. I mean, he's very quiet about that. You understand? I realize he's never loud. You understand? I realize he's behind the scenes somewhere. You understand? I mean, Steve Jobs, I'm pretty sure now Steve Jobs is getting loud. I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs is loud and popular. Although Steve Jobs has, let's say, passed away because of something of a liver, I realize of a liver type of, I realize a thyroid in a liver type of disease. You understand? You must understand, although, that he was becoming somebody who's very loud and popular. You understand? Whereas Osho is very quiet. I mean, Osho is very quiet and popular. You understand? So I'm very quiet now. I'm very quiet and popular. Whereas Tony Robbins is very quiet. I promise you, Tony Robbins, who is this famous life coach on the planet, is very quiet and popular. Understand? I promise you, although you must understand that what's amazing about this life is understanding that you can be quiet and be popular. But God wants to be the loudest. You understand? I mean, God wants to teach you everything. You understand? So either way, I want to teach everything. I want to be as loud as God. I mean, that's the way. I promise you, the best way is Jesus' way. I promise you, the best way is be loud and popular. I promise you, the best way. Although, guess what? I realize it may come to early dividends for you. You understand? Whereas you may pass away at 30 because someone assassinates you. I mean, are you willing to do that? Or do you want to do Jesus' work, but be here for longer than Jesus, and longer than Mahatma Gandhi, and longer than Tony Robbins and all these people, but do the most work for God? I mean, would you rather do the work of God but pass away at 30? Or would you rather do the work of God but pass away at 1,000? You understand? So I want you to understand that Jesus wants for you what's best. Or else Jesus wants you to go and choose. I want you to choose because I'm choosing to be 1,000 years of age and follow Jesus Christ. You understand? Or else those people who choose Jesus Christ may die before 50. I realize it's that kind of world today because of ego. Understand? So what's amazing is understand now that everything's different. I love why. Or else what's amazing is understand that now when I go busking, I'm the loudest one. You understand? I'm the loudest one. And now, is it dangerous for me to be loud on the stage? Or else yes. Or else it's very dangerous. You understand? But although, guess what? Or else it's something that helps me to improve. Or else now, that's how Jesus feels. You understand? Or else Jesus feels that he must go to the people to improve himself in his communication too. The same way I feel, where I have to stand up in front of people at a busking event and speak over them. I mean, that's Jesus. I mean, that's what Jesus does. Although, what I can do right now is understand I forget the busking performances. Totally. Understand? But what I do is I go busking performances to be very silent only. Whereas now that is something very different. Understand? Although, whereas that means that I never ever have to go and do public speaking in front of a crowd anymore. I realize although if I make an event and I go around the world making events and I'm on the stage, for example, and I'm pumping up music and I'm in a seminar of, let's say, full of people, I'm the loudest one there. Or else now what happens here, or else it's the same scenario. Or else now you become Jesus again. You understand? So those who are much more quieter than that. Or else if you never even go around people and you never even make events anymore, but all you ever have to do is everything you ever do is just do it online. You now realize this, that you are very successful behind the scenes. But understand either way, that if you go online and you have the loudest popularity, your online popularity is something so loud and much more than others. You're speaking louder. I mean, what do you do here? You have to understand that the louder your popularity here, in terms of Instagram and YouTube, the faster somebody comes and kills you. Apparently it's that way. You understand? Apparently they're just jealous. Apparently that's it. You understand? So if you have all these people following you on Instagram and social media today, or else that they get jealous of you, that you have more than them. Or else if you show success and if you show even the slightest clue that you are more successful than them, you're speaking louder than words. Or else they come and kill you. I mean, you understand? Or else now what do? You just go enjoy your life. You just go enjoy life, you understand? But what you do is try to be more silent. Whereas now, if you try to be more silent, you will live a happier life. But you will be away from people. But you will be with yourself. You understand? Whereas now, that's a peaceful life. You understand? Whereas now, if you just become more silent and more silent and more silent throughout life, you will have a blissful life. You have a peaceful life, I promise you. You'll be so successful. You understand? You'll be the most successful. You understand? Whereas now, if you understand that, is the passing away of your life. You understand? Whereas now, you must understand that nobody understands that you even exist anymore. Whereas now, if you go really silent and all the way, you go silence all the way, and you just follow the silence, I promise you that you have less risk that other people will kill you. I promise you. I promise you, although, that if you go the louder way, like Jesus Christ, and you become above the crowd in terms of scenery and a mouth on you that just teaches like Jesus, and you have the most followers, I promise you somebody very soon comes and kills you. You understand? I promise you it's that kind of life. And now, what do you want to do? I mean, you have to understand that for myself, I understand it's much more than you understand. I have to be quiet. I have to be quiet about my success. Although what I can do now on Instagram is I can go and unfollow all these people that follow me. Just to be quiet. You understand? I mean, when they follow me, I just make them unfollow me. You understand? I mean, guess what? That's the kind of life that I can live. Although, guess what? I can blend in with the crowd and be very silent about my success. But I'm more successful than them. On every level. You understand? Or else now, does fame interest me? I promise you no. I promise you fame does not interest me. Or else I don't care about fame. Or else, you understand? Because I have long-term fame. I have a video. I have thousands of videos teaching you everything. I mean, I have long-term fame already. You understand? Or else once I pass away, you'll find out. I mean, my videos are here always to teach you something. In a sense, so what do you do? Or else now, if you want to be the most popular in this lifetime, you then run the risk of somebody killing you. I mean, that's how simple it is. But if you want to live a safer lifestyle, you can go this way, and you can go the silence way, and you can just be quiet about what you're doing, and just go about your life. I mean, just go and succeed at every single endeavor that you ever want in life. I mean, go and have everything that you ever want. You understand? And just be behind the scenes. You understand? I promise you it's that simple. Although, you understand that Elon Musk, for example, you must understand that sometimes, or else he gets loud. Or else now when somebody interviews you, or else now you must understand that it's because you're silent. You understand? You must understand that nobody wants to interview you and be around you if you're loud. Although if somebody comes up to you to really learn from you while you're loud, I promise you they can also. You understand? I promise you, although what's amazing is Elon Musk doesn't go around events. Or else he doesn't go building these events that you see. Or else now Tony Robbins does. Or else now because Tony Robbins does do these events around the world, or else he's loud about that. You understand? Or else somebody can kill him because of that. You understand? Or else now Beyonce, or else somebody can shoot her because of that. Or else because she goes around people on the stage and she's the only one. I mean, that's why. Or else that's why they want to kill her. You understand? I never want to kill anybody. You understand? Although, guess what? Or else that's the kind of world you're living in. Or else it's either you choose silence or loudness. You must understand that either way, you're going to live your life. I promise you that's just the way it is. But if you are brave to die, I mean, if you're brave to die and just go all out like Jesus Christ can, you'll live the best life either way. You live the best life because if somebody takes away your life, understand Jesus Christ. I mean, if you live the silence way and you go doing the work of God, you'll also be prosperity and abundance. You understand? So yes, it's a two-way street in terms of yin and yang, although guess what? Or else there's only one road that you can choose. You understand? Or else now, is being loud evil? Probably no. Probably is being silent evil? Probably no. You have to choose one or the other. What do you choose? You can either choose to be popular or you can choose to be silent. I mean, what do you want to choose? Or else if you choose silence, you have bliss. Or else if you choose popularity, you get what you want. You understand? So either way, I understand either way. I understand it's that kind of a world. You understand? Because look at Jesus Christ. You understand? Or else Jesus Christ wants you to be exactly like Jesus Christ. You understand? Or else Jesus Christ wants you to be exactly like Jesus Christ. And just leave this world as soon as possible. You understand? I mean, Jesus Christ wants you to live the best life. I mean, God wants you to raise your voice over everybody so that you can teach them and so that you can lead them just like Jesus Christ can. I want you to really have the best lifestyle also. Or else Jesus also wants you to have peace and bliss. I mean, Jesus wants you to have silence in your life as well. You understand? Because God gives you a choice. You either want to become famous and be very loud, or you want to become famous and very silent. I realize, although you must understand that two roads, you must pick one, although understand that is your choice. I realize for myself, I realize now, since I have all this information, I have to go and really, really choose. I have to understand that my life is something to, let's say, grow. I must grow. You understand? I must understand that no matter what, I understand I'll never die. I never can die in this world. Or else my life is here to stay because I have content to help you every single day. So what's amazing is I find out to go the silent road for now as much as I can. You understand? Because the louder you are with people, or else the more they never respect you. Or else now understand that. You understand? Or else the louder you are with people, or else the more they never respect you. Or else, I mean, look at Jesus Christ. I mean, the louder he was with people, or else they never love him, or else they want to kill him. You understand? Or else now you have a lot of peace if you just zip it, in terms of never zip it. I mean, zip it in front of them. You understand? Or else Jesus Christ never wants to zip it in front of them. I mean, Jesus Christ is still talking in the prison and teaching them in the prison something. You understand? Although, understand me. I mean, guess what? Or else it's just like that. I just realized, although, that for myself, I choose to go the silent road. I choose to go the silent road. You understand? I choose to be happier. I'm loud. I'm so loud. I never need to be loud with them. Do you understand? I'm very loud with myself. I'm very loud with love I. You understand? I just stay away from the crowd as much as I can. You understand? I have a peaceful life. I have happiness. I mean, who cares about the fame? I'll blend in with the crowd. I'll blend in with people. You understand? I blend in with people now. I realize, although, that I focus on being alone as much as I can. I focus on being alone. You understand? I choose to be alone for now. Understand? Because I have so much peace. I have so much success. I never want to be around other people. I never even want to message my biological family because I'm just much more at peace. Understand? Or else now, when you message them, you're very loud. Understand? Or else even when you message them, or else even when you talk with other people, you're still loud. Or else the more you raise your voice with them, or else the more they hate you. Understand? Or else the more silent you are with them, the more they love you. Understand? You must understand, although that is that kind of will, but understand how to progress forward. You have to choose for yourself this. I can never choose for you, but I choose right now to be more silent while I travel Australia and while I go around the world. Understand? I choose more success this way. But eventually, I promise you eventually, I have to go the loud way. I promise you eventually I have to be louder and louder. I promise you just that kind of will. I promise you eventually I have to go louder and louder. And why is that? Because I have all these talents and abilities. I have all these talents and abilities. I realize I may as well show them. You understand? Although, guess what? I realize, yes, I realize there's a risk. I realize there's a risk that somebody's going to kill me. You understand? I realize now, either way, I never have to show them this talent. I never have to show them these talents. You understand? I can just keep it to myself. I realize now, do I want to do that? I can. I realize now, if I choose to just keep it to myself, I realize everything I do right now is just for I, and that's that. I realize it's never for others. You understand? I realize although I get more peace for that. I get peaceful. I get bliss. I get happiness. I realize if I'm ready to leave this world, I'm going to just go Jesus Christ. I mean, if you're ready to leave this world, really, I mean, choose. Understand? Although realize that for myself right now, I go very loud. I go very loud. I choose to leave early. Understand? I choose to leave early. Although for now, I choose to live a long life. Understand? I mean, for now. I mean, I just want to be silent. I never want to be around other people. I want to have peace. Understand? I pump music here. I just relax by myself. Understand? But when you're with other people and it's a full room and you're the DJ and you're pumping music and you just pump what you want to pump and never what they want, or should they kill you? You understand? I mean, imagine 1,000 people in this room, but they're asking to play some music with you, but you say no. You say, I want to play what I want to play. Whereas now, that's Jesus Christ. You understand? I mean, Jesus Christ is the DJ in the room who says to 1,000 people, no, I want to play what I want to play. I want to play my music. But they are jealous. I mean, they are jealous because Jesus is pumping everything that he wants only. I mean, don't you just want your life to succeed? I mean, that's what Jesus wants in that room. I mean, Jesus wants to just succeed. I mean, other people have a decision to leave Jesus. Just leave Jesus altogether. I mean, why do you have to go and kill Jesus? I mean, let Jesus pump music alone in the room. I mean, let Jesus be free. I mean, let him have some peace and quiet. I mean, why? I mean, who told you that you have to go to Jesus Christ to kill him? I mean, who told you that? I mean, you understand? I mean, who said that? I mean, why are they judging your life? And why are they ordering you what to do? And why are you listening to them? Or if Jesus is here pumping thousands of music tracks that he wants, and never what they want, you understand? Or else he's more successful. I mean, when you get what you want, you're more successful, yeah? I mean, of course, and that's what Jesus is doing in the crowd of a room of 1,000 people. Or else he's the only one. I mean, he's the DJ, and he's ripping it in the DJ room. But he's playing what he wants to play, and he gives no fucks about anybody else. You understand? And why is that? Or else, and why is that? Because Jesus Christ, or else because Jesus Christ wants to be much more famous. And Jesus Christ wants to have all the success and wants to have all the eyes on Jesus Christ and wants all the ladies, or else Jesus Christ wants all the ladies and men to talk to him. You understand? Or else Jesus Christ wants everybody's attention and wants to be the alpha male in the room. Or else now, is it alpha male or alpha woman? Or else I don't know if I'm a woman or man. I promise you. I mean, who said Jesus is a man? I mean, who said that? I mean, guess what? You must understand either way that all we really are is just the word I. You understand? So either way, you must understand that when you're in the room, for example, and you're playing other people's music now, or else, let's say you're Jesus Christ, but Jesus Christ now gets told, and somebody goes up to him and says, you mate, I want this track. You're playing this track? Or else either way, I mean, Jesus says, I just have to play this track over here because this lady over here is saying something that she wants a track. Or else either way, I'll play the track. Or else the guy is very egotistical to ask him to play what he wants. Understand? But he's asking. Or else he's asking and he's being honest. Or else Jesus goes and mixes the nice beautiful set of whatever he wants. Or else now they're celebrating over here. I mean, they're celebrating. I mean, they're doing drugs. I mean, they're doing drugs and everything because you're playing their music. You understand? I mean, guess what? You're safe. You're safe. I promise you, they'll never touch you. You understand? But let's say this individual, who is the bikie of some gang, comes up to Jesus and says, hey, play me Twinkle Twinkle Little Star right now because understand, I need to listen to this. Or else Jesus says, sorry mate, but I have something that I want to play. I promise you, that's all you say. Or that's all you have to say. I promise you, all the guy just goes away. But you're the one pumping it, and all the women want you. And they see that. Or else they see that all the women want you. You understand? And they get jealous. And they say to somebody over there, and say, oh, this man over here, man. Or they're talking about you already. You understand? Or else now they say, what's up with him? Or else they say, oh, let's go and put a gun into him. Understand? Or else the guy says, how much? Or else the guy says, I'll give you $200,000 and put one bullet into his head. You understand? That's that. The guy gets his money and then goes to Jesus, boom, on the stage. You understand? Or else Jesus falls over and that's it. I mean, why? Because Jesus didn't want to play his music. I mean, where's the freedom in that? Or else there's no freedom, is there? I mean, there's only freedom if you allow them to play what they want and do what they want. I promise you now, if you do that, you do have silence. Although, guess what? You never do what they want. I promise you, although, guess what? You let them do what they want. Whereas now, if they ask, you do what they ask. Understand? Although, if you must understand that. I promise you, if you do what they ask, you always live the best lifestyle. Understand? But what happens is, whereas now, if you're doing what they ask, you must understand to be away from them as much as possible so that nobody can ask you anything but follow Jesus Christ anyway. Understand? Whereas that what's amazing about this is understand, for example, whereas they want you to play their music, or else they're asking you, isn't it? Whereas yeah. So you do what they ask. Whereas they want you to play this, you play this. Understand? Although, guess what? Or as they may say, you must go to 9 to 5. Do you want to go to 9 to 5? You say, yeah, I want to go to 9 to 5. Or it's because they're asking you that already. You understand? Although, guess what? You do something else instead. You say, I want to go to 9 to 5, but I have to go jump across Queensland first. Or that's what I do. You understand? Or else, although, and they say, how long are you going to be? I say, about 2 months. Or else now they say, are you going to look for a job over there? I say, yeah. I mean, they'll let you go. I mean, and guess what? I'm receiving the government's allowance too. Or else now, either way, I change my address after 2 months. I get 2 months for free already. I made 2 months freedom. I mean, how? Or else now, because I said in 2 months I'll go there. Or else now, guess what? Or else they're not going to chase me up for a 9 to 5 job for 2 months. Or else how? I mean, they ask me, where am I going? I say, to Queensland. Or else they say, when? I say, in 2 months' time. Or else now, guess what? Or else they say, no worries. That's it. They're not asking me to work a 9 to 5 job anymore. Or else now, for 2 months, I can get the money from the government and I can just go live my life for free for 2 more months. And then I go to Queensland and then they say, you're looking for a job? I say, yeah. Or else they go on the computer and they say, I see you did job search. I say, yeah. Or else, although they say, how long you been here? I say, whatever. I say, I've been here for 2 weeks or whatever. And then, guess what? Or else it comes to a time where they say, we are going to get you a job next week. Or else they say that. Although they say, do you want to get this job next week? I say, oh, I have to go to Adelaide. I have to really leave in 1 month. I have to go there in 1 month. Understand? Or else they say, oh, or else we'll just connect you to the payments. Or else we'll just let you go. I thank you. I just made myself an extra month. You understand? So either way, I grab another 2 investments that they give me. Understand? Or else on Social Security. Understand? So guess what? Or else, yeah, I'm doing what they want. I'm doing what they want, but in a way that I do what I want. You understand? I outsmart them over here. You understand? Because I say, yeah, I say yes to their questions. You understand? So when they ask you questions, you say, yeah, I'll do it. or else you never do it then. You understand? So guess what happens? Or else now, you must understand that what happens here is, let's say Jesus comes up to, Jesus is playing 1,000 songs, okay? Or else now, either way, you must understand, you better know, okay? Or else Jesus is playing music on the stage, but somebody else comes up to him and says, hey, and he's a bikie, or else he's one of those people who does kill people. But he goes up to Jesus and says, I want this track. Or else I'll play for you. Jesus says, I'll play for you. You understand? Or else he goes. But then you finish up in 1 hour. You understand? And he's waiting for the music. You understand? But you just leave. Just leave and never play that track. You understand? I promise you now, they'll never kill you. I promise you they'll never kill you. You understand? I promise you, although they're waiting for 1 hour. You make them wait. You make them wait because why? Otherwise you're doing what you want. You're not making them wait. Understand? Or else, although Jesus says here, I'll play it for you. Or else Jesus just leaves. Or else Jesus never even plays it for them. You understand? Or else now is Jesus lying? Of course you know. Or else Jesus just said, I'll play it for you. Or else did he say, I'll play that song for you? Or else now, if Jesus really says, I'll play that song for you, or else Jesus is again saying that he'll do himself. Because what song is it exactly? Or else now, if for example, the guy comes up to him and says, I want you to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And Jesus says, I'll play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Or else now, either way, you must understand, Jesus is playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but he's really playing some other music. And now either way, that guy never gets the music he deserves. Because guess what? Or else what's amazing is understand that to Jesus Christ, Armin van Buuren's, let's say, one of Armin van Buuren's track that is never Twinkle Twinkle is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for Jesus. You understand? So let's say the Australian anthem, or else Jesus starts playing the Australian anthem for the next hour. Or else now that guy asks him to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but Jesus is playing Australian anthem for the past hour. And then Jesus goes. Or else although that Jesus said to the guy, I'll play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You understand? Although Jesus really means that Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is the Australian anthem. You understand? So that's it. I mean, just move on. You understand? Or else they'll never kill you. Or else they'll only kill you if they come up to you and the biker says, play me this over here. And you say, no, I have something to play over here. Whereas now you made them aware that you never ever want to play their music. You just made them aware. You said no. Or that's why they put a bullet in your head. You understand? I promise you, because you said no. I mean, you literally said no. You understand? Because now they understand for the next night, in terms of for the next hour, when Jesus is playing music, or else they have a chance now to get him and to kill him. You understand? Because they're aware that Jesus will never play the music. Because they believe that Jesus doesn't like them. Apparently, they believe that Jesus dislikes them. You understand? So what do? Or else they feed on the hate. Or else they start hating Jesus. Because they believe that somebody else hates them. Or else now, either way, you must understand that when Jesus goes and teaches all the crowd, or else the people believe that Jesus hates them. And that's why they put him on the cross to kill him. You understand? I promise you, although you must understand that Jesus said in the Bible many times, I already said this. You understand? I'm moving on. You understand? Although what's amazing is Jesus can repeat everything in a different way. You understand? But what's amazing is understand that as soon as you say no to somebody about anything, that's when they dislike you. You understand? So what do? You say yes or no. You only say yes to everybody. Or when they ask you a question, you say yes. Or when they come up to you and say, let me have your wife, you say yes, you can have her. I mean, if they come up to you and say, let me have your husband tonight, I mean, you say yes, you can have her. You say to your wife, you can go with him tonight. Or I realize if she goes, or as if your spouse goes with them, or as now, you're just much better for it. I mean, she actually believes you. I mean, they actually believe that you're giving them to him. I mean, it's really be much more loyal than that. In a sense, so if your husband or wife says you can go with other men, I mean, or you can go with other women, and you go, you then lost them completely. Or the whole point of marriage is to stick together. I mean, if I tell you and you're my husband or wife, and I say you can go with other men and wife, and you can go with other men and women, you go. And you really believe me. I actually convince you of that. You actually go and have sex with other people and then you come to me again. I mean, I just say, I have something else to do. You see? I mean, guess what? Or else, you must understand that anybody who's so stupid to go and cheat on you because you said so, or else you deserve something better. You know what I'm saying? Or else now, if you say, or else let's say you're my husband or wife, and I say, you go with them. Or else they're beautiful, I mean, go. I mean, they want you, I mean, just go. I mean, just go. I mean, just go. I mean, if you keep saying it, or else you're trying to convince them, really. You understand? Because if you convince them, you have something better. Whereas now, if you turn around to me and you say, you have to shut the fuck up because I love you. I mean, if you told me that, well, then I'll say, I love you too. I mean, let's just get out of here. Understand? I mean, guess what? Whereas after 10 minutes, I've been trying to convince you, but you tell me to shut the fuck up because you love me so much. I mean, let's go and get a drink somewhere. You understand? I mean, it's because you love me, so let's go get a drink or something. Let's go somewhere. I'll take you around the world. Because after 10 minutes of trying to convince you to go with them, you chose me again. You understand? But if you choose somebody else because I said so, or it's because you never loved me. You understand? That's it. I mean, try to convince your spouse to go with other people. I mean, it's just nice of you. You understand? But if they really choose to go with other people, I mean, guess what? You have more time alone. And guess what? You just go and do you. Because what do you do then? You just go and do you. You understand? You forget about them. I mean, do you have to bring them back into your life? You bring them back. You let them come and go as they please. Whereas now, if your wife or husband says, do you allow me to have sex with them? You say, yeah, I allow you to have sex with them. And you go. And if they go, you just go your way. You understand? Whereas that's the kind of world. But if you say no to her or him, you're then trying to control them. You're then trying to control them completely. You understand? I mean, never say no, because otherwise they get resentful. I mean, why are they even asking you that question for? I mean, why are they asking to have sex with other people? Because they're more attracted to other people than you. You understand? And they're showing you that through the question. Or as they say, or as if your wife or husband says, do you allow me to have sex with this woman? I mean, he's asking, or else she's asking you, or he's asking you, and telling you right now that they are more attractive than you. You just say you can go. You say it. You understand? Whereas now, if somebody tries to grab your wife or husband, you allow them. Totally. You allow them. You say, yeah, you can go. You touch your ass. You understand? But go see what they're doing. Or you go and see what your husband and spouse is doing about this. Or else if they allow a man to go be dirty around them, around you, you just leave. You just go. I mean, why do you want to be around that woman for? I mean, she's cheating on you in front of you. You understand? I mean, the guy just goes and grabs your woman, but let her be. Because if you deny him, or else he may shoot you as well. Or else if some man comes up to your woman or whatever, or woman comes up to your man, I mean, allow them to be with your man or woman. You understand? I mean, allow them, totally. Because if you try to start fights because of this woman, whereas violence is never the solution. You understand? I mean, what kind of wife is that? I mean, what kind of husband is that? If you convince them to go with other people. I mean, that's the smartest aspect of life when you're convincing them to go elsewhere. I mean, be convincing your wife and husband to go elsewhere all the time. Because if they really believe you, you then have something better to do. Whereas now, if they're very smart, and you're convincing them to go everywhere else but they stick with you, you won the jackpot. You understand? Or as if I try to convince you to go somewhere else from this video. I mean, go somewhere else, but you stay and watch me. You won the jackpot. You understand? Or as if I convince you, really, to go somewhere else and you go, you missed out. Or not. You're actually missing out. You understand? So it's the same scenario. I mean, let's say you're my husband or you're my wife. I mean, who cares about gay people and all this? You understand? I am just the word I. Understand? I realize that many people hate gay people. I never hate gay people. I love gay people. I'm just never gay. I'm just the word I. Understand? So realize, either way, you must understand that what's amazing is, let's say you're my husband or wife. You understand? I mean, let's say you're my daughter. I mean, let's say you're my sister or brother. And I'll tell you, hey, you go over there. I mean, they're more interesting. I mean, hello? I mean, they're more interesting. I mean, go. Or else, can you believe me? I see you actually walking over there. I say, adios, amigo. You understand? I go somewhere flying around the world and you're going to be chasing me for the rest of your life. I never talk to you again. You understand? Whereas that's how it is. Or else, although, if I really try to convince you and you go, or else then, you have to understand. You have to understand, I'm just much more smarter than you. You understand? I deserve someone better. Although, guess what? Or else, if I say, hey, just go. Come on. Look at this. Look at his dick. Come on. Look at his muscles. Go. Go enjoy yourself. You understand? But you say, no, I love you. I say, come on, you love me. Just go over there. Just go and really go and kiss him. Just go. He's romantic. She's romantic. I love her. Just go. And now you say, no, I want to be with you. I don't want to be with them. You're telling me that you want to be with me, though. Or else I hit the jackpot. Now. Or else I finally have somebody that wants me for who I am. You understand? Or else if I convince you and say, go, you can go. Go and have sex. And really, look at him. Oh my God. Do you understand? I'm actually talking to a woman. Look at him. Let's just say I'm talking to my wife. Do you understand him? He has a big cock. Look at him. He has big muscles. He's so much more alpha. Or else she believes me and she goes over there. But she's my wife. Goodbye. Or else I'll just go somewhere else. You understand? Or else she's stupid. I convince her to go over there because I love her so much to never say no. You understand? Or else now, if you ask me to give you money and I say no, or else that's how it feels. You understand? Or else if she asks me to go over there, I say go. You understand? I say go. Or else why do you want to go over there in the first place? I'm everything. You understand? I'm everything. Why do you want them? You have me. You understand? Although she wants to go there, I say go. I'll never deny you. I'll never say no to you. Go. Or if you're my son or daughter and you say, Dad, do you allow me to do drugs? Go and do it. Go, you'll find out. Go. I don't care about them. You understand? I'll never deny them. Or if I say no, or as I do it behind my back anyway. You understand? Or if I say no to her to go and get the other man, or as it means jealousy. What else can it mean? You understand? If I deny her and I say you're just with me, you don't go with him. That sounds it sounds jealous. You understand? You say you go. But then as soon as she goes to other men, you just go and never pick up her phone calls ever again. You understand? Or is that? Or as soon as she goes over there, you leave and she never sees you again. You understand? It's that simple. Or now if they knock, or as if they rock up in your door, or as you never just open you open your own door. You never have to open the door ever again. Or as now do you welcome them back? You just welcome yourself back. Who said you have to welcome them back? Who said that you have to welcome them back and open the door for them? You open the door for yourself only. You understand? You owe them. You have something better. Do you forgive it? I forgive it. But I just have something better now. Or else if they do it once, or else they'll do it again. You understand? Or that's how it is. Although never say no to your kids. Never say no to others. Never say no to anybody. Or else do whatever they want to do. In terms of say yes, but never do what they do. What did Jesus do? Or as Jesus says over there at the wine palace, where they said, we have no wine. Or as they asked Jesus for the wine. Or as they're asking Jesus for the wine. That's them over there. Although Jesus goes and makes the wine. Or as Jesus allows them to have the wine. Because if Jesus says no, or as they start hating Jesus. Or as they start hating Jesus, you understand? Or else Jesus says, go have the wine. But does Jesus do the wine? Or does he drink the wine? Unfortunately, no. Or as Jesus understands the Pharisees. You understand? Or else, although, you must understand that in this point of view, you must understand that I'm never a Pharisee. Or else it's more, you must understand that Jesus never wants to say no to them. I mean, you understand? Or else if you ask me to get a game or something, or else to travel with me somewhere, and I say no, you must understand, you then hate me. Or else, although you must understand that what's amazing is I say, yeah, you can travel with me. Whereas now you're just waiting all your life. Whereas if you want to travel with me somewhere, I'll say, I'll take you. I'll bring you everywhere. I just never talk to you ever again. I mean, who are you? I mean, why do I have to travel with you? Why do I have to travel with you all over the world? You're from wherever. You're from Ghana, you're from Thailand. You're the first individual from after 50 years of my life. I meet you online and you write to me to send you $1 million. I say, I'll send you $1 million. All right, I'll send you $1 million. Or as they say, when? Or as now, I never send them the money. I just said yes. I just said yes. I just move on. I never reply again. Or as they love me though. I never said no. You understand? I mean, never say no. You must say yes. Or else that your friends call you and say, come to clubbing. You say, I'll come very soon. Or they're expecting you to come the whole night, but you never show up. I mean, they say, where are you? Or else you never even pick up the phone call. You know what I'm saying? I mean, or else when they say, where were you? I mean, or else you never even talk to them ever again. I mean, what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? You never talk to them ever again. You know what I'm saying? Because why? Or because you have something better to do? I mean, why do you want to do your friends for? I mean, go and do you. I mean, why? I mean, why not do you? You understand? I mean, why do you want to go clubbing for? I mean, go and be your own friend. I mean, stop being their friend. I mean, go and be your friend. I mean, you understand? I mean, when she wants to come over, you say, yeah. Or else you say, I allow you to come over. Or else now she wants to come over, but you never message her again. You never message her again. You say, yeah, you can come over. Or else you're just traveling the world while she's waiting. You understand? Do you understand? I mean, you just look very smart, don't you? Or else he wants to see you. You say, I'll see you very soon. I'll see you very soon. Or else they get happy. You understand? Or else you said yes. Or else they're asking you for your permission. You say yes. You make them happy like that. Or else now, if you say no, you say, or else if you say, I have somebody else. Or else now, if you say that, you're actually saying no. Or else now, are you really? You must understand that it's really a saying yes over here. You just say, I have somebody else. You must understand all that. You just never say the word no. I mean, never ever say that you can say, I say no. Or else now, if you say, I say no, or else now, either way, or else they get jealous. Or else they realize the word no again. You know what I'm saying? So what's amazing is never say the word no. Or else say yes, but just go your own way. Or else if you say, you want to smoke the bomb cars with me? I say, yeah. I mean, what time, bro? I just never reply. I never reply ever again. I mean, the guy's going to be smoking bomb, but I'd be doing something different. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, Danny. I mean, do you want $1 million? I say, yeah. Or they say, what time? I say, what? I remove myself from the situation. I mean, what for? I mean, guess what? I already have $1 million. I have $1 million already. I have everything already. I mean, why do I need your? Why do I need to have your $1 million? I already said yes. Whereas now, if you want to send me $1 million, you just send it. I mean, why do you need to ask me for? Or is Danny, you want $1 million from me? I say, yeah, you can give me $1 million. Or else now, either way, or else they say, what time? I just go away. I run away. I run away from the individual. Or else why? Or else why? Or else why they're asking me what time? I mean, just go and send it to me. I mean, they send. I mean, that's that. Or else if you're so close to me, you understand my bank account, I mean, just send it to me. I mean, you have to ask me for my bank account, or else now, guess what? I just run away again. I mean, why? I have $1 million already. I have the money already. I have all the money in the world. I mean, why do I need your money? I mean, when I run away from you, when you want to give me money, you must understand, I have myself. I have my eye. I mean, I never need your money. I never need your life and what you have. You understand? I never need anything you have. I mean, no matter how much you want to give me the hug, I already have a hug. I have everything. That's it. I just go my own way. You have a threesome? You have a foursome? I say congratulations. I already have more than that. I have more than that. I never need to be coming with you anyway. You understand? That's how simple it is. Whereas, although you must understand that what's important every single day is focus upon making sure that you just say yes. You say yes and then you just enjoy yourself every single day. Understand? So every single day, focus upon a better life. I mean, make sure you understand that the world around you is a much better world. But if you have a fan or something like that that's around you while you're doing a video, I mean, just make sure that it's never making much noise. Understand? I mean, make sure it's never making noise. Or else, either way, or else when you have a air condition or fan that's blowing next to your audio, or while you're recording a video, you can hear it in the background. I understand, although what's amazing every single day is focus upon making sure that you understand that if you want to be popular, you have to focus upon being silent. And then focus upon building talents. Or else now, when you have all these talents, you can choose for yourself to showcase it in front of the world or not. Or else now, if you choose to never showcase it in front of the world, you post it up online anyway. You have to post up your content anyway online. You can make a private account and you never have to show anybody this. You never have to show your life to anybody. You understand? You can be one of those private Instagrams. You can. I promise you, there's nothing wrong about that. I promise you, there's nothing right about that. You can totally be a private Instagram with just a mega drive, and you never need YouTube anymore, and you never need Instagram anymore. You understand? You can just be the silent distance in the background. You understand? But then guess what? Or else they want you to work a 9-to-5 job all your life. You understand? Or else now, either way, you go to a 9-to-5. But guess what? Or else they want you to work for them. And they want you to stay below. Or else they want you to stay below. But guess what? You have to do what they want. Or else now, the more silent you are, the more you have to do what they want. You understand? Or else that's how it is. Or else now, the more loud you are, or else the more you never do what they want. You understand? Or else that's how it is. Or else the more loud you are, or else the more you never listen to them. Or else now, I'm very loud here. I'm actually in the disguise over here. When they want me to work a 9-to-5 job, I say, yeah, I'll work. I say, yeah, and I'll work a 9-to-5. Or else now, I'm very happy. You understand? But then I just go somewhere else. And then they never even realize that I'm just lagging it in terms of that I'm lagging the 9-to-5. You understand? I'm just grabbing their money very quickly. You understand? And that's how I go around Australia. I went on Social Security. I went and grabbed all the money from the government. I realized they gave me 20,000. I mean, big deal. I mean, they print 20,000 in less than a minute. I mean, they print the money. I mean, they print $20,000 in 1 minute. I mean, big deal. You know what I'm saying? I realized either way, I realized 10 million Australians today are all receiving Social Security. I mean, 10 million Australians from 24 million are receiving government support with financial security. Or is it getting handouts? You understand? Or is either way, I'm just smarter. In a sense, although that when I say no to them, I never say no to their face. I say yeah, but then I say no in the silence. You understand? I say no by doing something else. Or else I may say yes, or else you may say kiss me or something, I'll say, I'll kiss you. Or else I'll just go somewhere else. But I never did kiss you. I said yes to you, but I said no in my silence. Or else now, read the silence in between the words. Understand? I mean, read what people do and never what people say. Or else most people read what people say. Or else now, when they read what people say, or else they do what people say. You never do what people say, you never read what people say. You read how they say it. Or else there's a big difference. Or else now, read how I'm saying this and never what I'm saying. I'm never telling you what to do. I'm showing you how. You understand? I mean, how do I go about this? Is all that I talk about. I mean, what's my video? I'm never telling you what to do. I'm telling you how to do it. I'm showing you how. I mean, my video series is a how-to series. I never said what to do in this situation. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you how to do it. I'm telling you how to do it. You understand? I'm teaching you how and never the what. You never go up to people saying, what do I do now? Or is it so stupid? I mean, just go find something to do. You understand? I mean, never ask them what to do. I mean, ask yourself what to do. You understand? I mean, never ask them what to do because they will give you something to do. I mean, ask of yourself to do something. I mean, what do I do now, Danny? Or else I'll just do this video. I mean, choose something to do. Or else now, if you go up to them and you say, how do I do this? I mean, there's a big difference. Or else now you're keen to learn, actually. You understand? You're actually keen to learn because it's never what to do anymore. Or else now it's actually, you're just learning. You understand? Or else if you just go what to do, I mean, what do I do, sir? I mean, or else they may say something, but you'll never listen. Or else if you ask me what to do in this video, and I say, you must go and really, really help yourself grow. Or else now, you may never listen to me. You understand? Or else, what's amazing over here is I can see a big difference over here. Or else what's amazing over here is understand that whatever you do is the word higher. Or else anything that you do in life, you must understand is the word high. You understand? I mean, high means I. I mean, what to do, you do yourself. I mean, yes, ask yourself questions, but never them. I mean, guess what? You can ask people questions, but ask yourself questions more than you do them. You understand? Or else if you're always going up, or else if you're always going to everybody else to ask questions, I mean, guess what? Or else your biological dad is in America or whatever. I mean, let's say your spouse and your family is overseas, but you're going to call them, but they don't, or else they never pick up for one day. You're trying to ask them a question. I mean, who has time to call them for one day? I mean, who has time for that? I mean, go ask it of yourself to go and find out. I mean, what is the answer that you're giving? I mean, that's the best answer. You understand? I mean, you can answer all the questions for yourself right now with the wisdom you have. You never need them to answer these questions. I mean, go and think for yourself. I mean, go and do it yourself. I mean, how do I become a billionaire? I'll find out. I'll choose. I'll go and write down how to do this. I'll find out myself. I never have to ask them how to do it. I can do it myself. I mean, go and do that for yourself. I mean, go and do what I just done. You understand? I mean, go and find out. Really. I mean, get your journal out. I mean, get your journal and start really, really pronouncing yourself to be better so that you can become a billionaire. You understand? I mean, go and find out, because if somebody else never achieves the $1 billion, I mean, why would you ask them? You only ever ask billionaires how they've done it. Or else now, either way, or else you can always ask people, or else, how do you become a billionaire? Or else they may say, I'm not a billionaire, man. Or else either way, you say, you have $1 billion legs. I mean, guess what? Or else then it's just, I came here from Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Or else what's amazing is understand that because we do have the Bible of Jesus Christ, or else that's why we're all alive today. Or else now, if you go to the source of the information, or else where is it? Or else it's in Jesus Christ. Or else it's only information of the world. Or else if you simplify all the information of the world, you'll find Jesus Christ. In a sense, so what's amazing is understand every single day, you're either choosing silence or you're choosing to be louder. Whereas now online, I'm choosing to be very loud. Online, I'm choosing to be very loud. Whereas now, my work is online. So if you choose to kill me because of that, you can come here. You can come and kill me right now. I allow you. Or I say, yes, you can do it. Or I say, yes, you can do it, but I'll just walk away. I'll go somewhere else. You understand? Or if you don't do it, I'll just go somewhere else. You understand? So what's amazing is never put yourself in a situation where you may kill someone. Or stop testing yourself to kill somebody. Never say that I'll kill you. I'll never kill you. You understand? Or what's amazing is never tell somebody that you'll kill them. Or never tell somebody that you kill them. You understand? I never kill anybody. You understand? Or now what's amazing is understanding every single day to go back on your words. But go into the word I and live in the word I. In a sense of what's amazing every single day is focus upon making sure that what you're doing today is never what you're doing yesterday. Focus upon going forward. But make sure you're more silent around people. And that way, you just have more peace and bliss. Whereas now when I'm traveling, I look to go and grab the Uber to go in new places around the area. Because by the time I grab my trolley and I go to the beach, I have to walk it for 30 minutes. I'd rather give $10 to get to the Uber so that I can go to the nice, beautiful beach in less of time. You understand? Or else I never have to go physically walking. Or else try to physically walk less throughout life. Try to physically exercise less throughout time. Understand? Understand that what's important here is more communication. More words. You understand? In terms of more actual words that I'm speaking is more important than the physical walking. You understand? Or else what's amazing is I physically walk spiritually. You understand? I walk and I'm standing here. Or else I'm standing physically. Or else I do feel some pain in my back. Or else I had a car accident before. Or else although you must understand that what's amazing is I'm still alive. I'm still doing my job. I'm still doing what I love to do. And I'm very silent about it. Understand? Although if you're around the crowd, you must be the most silent. You must be the most silent in that crowd. Because otherwise, everybody hates you. Understand? Or else what's amazing is, or else from year 1 to year 6, I was very loud. I was very loud in those years. You understand? Or else now from year 7 to year 12, or else from year 7 to year 10, in terms of high school, I was very quiet. I was more quiet from year 7 to year 10 than I was from year 1 and year 6. I was a very loud child. That's Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ just terrorizing everything in terms of good nature. Understand? What was I doing to be very loud? I get oranges and I break people's windows. I break people's windows, you understand? I go to the cars of wherever they are in the car park and I get the nice beautiful, or I get the actual thing that goes, I realize I get the lid that goes into the tire and then I put this knife or something and I flatten the tire as well. I go around flattering tires. I go doing that to everybody. You understand? Or else they all have to jack up the car. Or else they all have to jack up the car after the function. Or else it's the funniest thing that I've ever done in my life. You understand? Or else it's so funny. Or else I just go around the car parks doing it. You understand? That's how loud I am. You understand? So either way, you must understand that what's amazing is focus upon understanding that whatever you're doing in life, focus on being the most quiet at first. Try to be more quiet because that's how you can get louder. Or else now Jesus is very quiet as a child. Jesus is very quiet. You understand? Or else Jesus goes and learns from people around him. You understand? Or else Jesus may sit with people somewhere in a crowd where they're talking and Jesus will say, how do you do that? And why? You understand? Although Jesus is very smart to just be quiet over here. Or else I'm the kid in terms of life where I just run around and be very loud. But Jesus is doing the opposite here. If I was back in those times, I'd probably be picking rocks at those people. You know what I'm saying? Or else I'd probably be causing a nuisance or a public nuisance over there. You know what I'm saying? Or else they may be going around, or they understand that I just be away from the crowd, really. I'd be away from them, but I still go and maybe grab their possessions or something so they never find it. You know what I'm saying? I promise you, I'm that type of kid. You understand? But Jesus never does that. You understand? I promise you, Jesus never does that as he's growing up. You understand? I'm the kid that goes and grabs your wallet and you're looking for it. And what happens? Or else I make you find it elsewhere. I can either do that, or something else happens where I realize either way, you must understand that I never throw the wallet. I'll go and grab it, so you're looking for it for about 2 hours. You understand? Because I'm not the type of kid to throw your wallet away. I'm the type of kid where I'm growing up to really, really put a knife into your tire so that you have to jack up the car. Abortion, that's something in terms of loudness, but guess what? I'm not evil. You understand? I understand that what's amazing is every single day I focus upon understanding something greater, but I understand that when I'm always younger. You know, so I'm younger throughout time, but back from 8 to about 13, I was backstage while people were dancing, and people were dancing and performing. When they're performing, you understand, in proper crowd, but there's this background, and it's like something is pulling down, although it's like cardboard, and you can actually push the actual cardboard like this, and in the background, people can see someone's pushing, or somebody's causing a nuisance behind me. You understand? Or else they are performing. You understand? Or else they're performing live on stage. I'm pushing the background. I'm just pushing the background like this, and people are paying attention more to what's happening behind the actual wall that's actually going and doing all that. So what's amazing is understand, no matter what, you just have to always be much more, let's say, appropriate, because if you're explaining something that is happening with you, you have to understand to actually go and be much more quiet about everything. Or else what's amazing every single day is I notice something that's going on right now. Or else what's happening right here is I understand that it's 11:15 and there's hostile people around here. You understand? So I have to be quiet. But when I talk about the loud moments of my life, I get louder. I just realized now. Or else now I'm just being myself. I'm being myself. So guess what? Or else when I'm louder, or else people around me start complaining. You understand? Or else they start complaining. And why is that? Because of my noise. You understand? Or else it's because of my success. You understand? Or else they hear someone so happy. Or else they hear someone so happy. You understand? And they say, shut up. You understand? You understand? Or else I was pumping my music over here earlier in the Newcastle Backpackers. I was pumping my music, but people hear my music pumping. Or else they hear me having a good time. Or else somebody comes and knocks on my door. I open the door and they say, quiet down over here. Or else people are complaining. You understand? Or else they're complaining because I'm pumping my music. I mean, why? You understand? Because they're jealous. I mean, what else can it be? You understand? I turn it off. But that's why I'm telling you now, that if you want to make everybody happier, you just have to be more silent. You understand? But guess what? You make yourself happier to be silent. Or else if somebody wants you to shut up and be silent, you be silent, but go somewhere else, away from people. You understand? You never be with them, but be silent when they say, so that you can be happier. You understand? And never for them. You understand? So what did I do? I just go and switch off the music, totally. But when I'm speaking about the loud moments just recently, I started to get louder, but I understand that or else they may be sleeping. You understand? Or else they may knock on my door and say, shut up again. You understand? Because I raise my voice. Or else, although that this is a nice, beautiful tone where I can go and speak. You understand? Although if they told me to shut up doing this, or else I just switch off the video. I just be silent. I go do my video elsewhere. in a silent way, you understand? So what's amazing is understand that the loud moments of my life, you understand one moment, and I'll be very silent about this in a way that I can explain it. Rationale, it's because I'm talking about myself. But what's amazing is somebody singing from Serbia, and her name's Snezana Babic, and she comes to Candyvale, which is Srpska Narodna Obrana in Candyvale, Australia. I realize, although I'm in the backstage, and there's these PowerPoints, you understand? I realize there's PowerPoints everywhere. I started to unplug the actual PowerPoints, or there's a blackout, or there's blackout, or there's, it's so funny, or there's, it's so hilarious, you understand? Or there's the whole function, or there's, it's all darkness, or there's there's no more music playing, or else everybody's, what's going on over here? You understand? Or else they come in the backstage, or else they come in the backstage, or else they see me there, or else, what are you doing? Or else, I didn't do anything. You understand? So either way, I realize that's a loud moment. You understand? I realize I'm so successful over here. You understand? So either way, you must understand that I realize those are some memories from my life. You understand? So either way, you must understand that is hilarious. I realize although that my biological father actually tells me this, that I went around this nice beautiful scenery with a Ferrari that my biological dad got me. And what happens is I went around driving it everywhere. You understand? Although I understand either way that it's just how it is. I understand that moment is something that I really, let's say, I never remember it much. Although if I was driving a Ferrari, I understand although that it's just realize this. I realized that either way, I had all this oil around me. Whereas, for example, you see these tubs, for example, where, let's say, they have oil, and I put it all over my shirt. I put it all over my skin and all over my shirt, and people, I go to the function with all this oil on me. Or else there's all this oil, you know what I'm saying? I mean, full oil and dirt, and or else everything looks oily around me. I mean, they're just asking, Daniel, I mean, what did you do? I'm very dirty at the function. You know what I'm saying? I look very dirty. Or else there's all oil all over me. You know what I'm saying? Or else there's the color of some oil shirt. Or else it's a white shirt. Or else everything is dirty. Or else everything's some other color. Or else I arrive at the function and I walk around like that. You know what I'm saying? Or else that's Daniel Milivojevic. Or else although I'm speaking loud, you know what I'm saying? I'm in silence over here. Or else that's what it is. But guess what? I'm very popular, aren't I? I'm very popular. Or else now when I black out everything and they see me in silence, or else what happens over here? I'm very popular because I did it in silence. You understand? I realize all those stories that I gave you is in silence. Or else that's the way to go. I mean, that's what Jesus does when he's growing up. You understand? Or else he goes around people and just causes devastation in a way that it's growth and it's really just you. You understand? Or else Jesus is just being him. Or else Jesus is never really causing a devastation in terms of violence, but something like a blackout at the wedding. You understand? You understand? I mean, that's more Jesus Christ. You understand? Or else, although you must understand every single day. I mean, focus upon understanding. You go cause a nuisance behind people's backs. I mean, go and do it, but be silent about it. I mean, go grab the car and just start. I mean, just put a knife into it. You understand? I mean, guess what? Or else, although you must understand that what's amazing is understand that right now you never have to do that. You never have to do it. But guess what? Or else if you want to cruise, or else if you want to do that and you want to speak loud about that, you can. I was doing that. I realized it's so fun to go around the neighborhood and just flying on everybody's tires. Or else what else I was doing is I was going around people's fences. And what I was doing is I was running through these fences. You understand? Although, you must understand that because I was running through these fences, I was around people doing it. And now, because I was around people doing it, I realized that now I'm somebody much more popular. Because why? Because I'm silent about it. Whereas now, honestly, you must understand that what's amazing about this is understand that it's very, or is it loud? I promise you, no. Roshi, it's never loud because why? Or else because I chose to do it. I chose to do something. Although I understand that they want me to do it. Or else they want me to do it. So I run for a fence. You understand? Or else either way. Or else it's silent notice, but it's hilarious. You understand? I mean, it's hilarious when you're running through a fence, but people want you to do it. You understand? So what do? Or else we go around fencing. Or else we go around fencing people's fences. Or else Danny's just running through fences everywhere. You understand? So that's how it is. You understand? Or else we're playing rugby. And we go, and now this is much more bullying. Or else now what I've done before is I never realized this before, but I went and I pushed this guy into the fence and he fell over the fence. You understand? Although we're playing rugby. You understand? Or else now, yes, or else other people want me to do it. Or else now, yes, or else it's hilarious for them. Or else it's never hilarious for him. You understand? Or else now, that's why you must understand that's bully. You understand? Or else that's bullying. You understand? Or else never do that. Or else you never do that. You never go pushing people through fences. You never touch them. You go and do it yourself. You understand? Although, yes, or else they peer pressure me. Or else they say, go and do it. Or else now when you do it, or else now, yes, or else they laugh and they love you. But then you make him much more successful because he's more silent than you here. And you look like an idiot in terms of him, but they love you. You understand? Roshi, that's that. I promise you now, he loves you also. Roshi, he loves you also, but he's much more smarter than you because you have to bully him. I mean, what for? So either way, you must understand, or else that's something in terms of that, or else I did do it before. You understand? Although I was very stupid for that. Or else, although the times where I was, let's say, jumping through these fences, or I was alone, or else I'm not bullying anybody. Or else the government has to fix all that. I mean, come on, or else they're printing out money and making people work a 9-to-5 job to go and fix these fences anyway. I mean, who cares about fences? I mean, in a sense, what's amazing is who cares about the outside world? You understand? I mean, go and cause a nuisance everywhere. Or else now, what's amazing is understand that if you go and light somebody's house on fire, I mean, isn't that hilarious? I mean, that's the most hilarious act that you can do. And just never be caught about it. You understand? Or else that's the same scenario where you're flattening the people's tires. You understand? You go and burn the house. Or else it's so funny. You understand? Or else it's funny. I mean, imagine you just go around the neighborhood burning people's houses. I mean, it's hilarious. You understand? Or else, although, you must understand to just go and do you, but never be caught doing it. You understand? Or else now, guess what? Or else now, you must understand that it's so silent. You understand? Or else that you must understand though, that what's amazing is never own a house in the first place. And now, does Jesus allow you to do it? You go do what you want to do. I'm not telling you to do it. You understand? I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just giving you an idea of what it is. Or else, although I'm not telling you what to do. You understand? I'm just showing you how. I'm showing you something of ideas about it. You understand? So that you never have to do it. You understand? Or else it's just an idea. You understand? Or else, although, now what's amazing about life is understanding that you are just doing something every single day to make sure that you prosper. Or else make sure you're prospering. I mean, make sure you understand that everything around you is doing something much more. Or else when you're doing much more, you understand either way. I'll just give you one more story that I remember. Or else this story over here. I actually will give you another story over here, but these are amazing stories of my life. You understand? And what happens here is I go with people and we're running around the neighborhood and we start kicking people's fences. In terms of we start kicking people's fences, but we start really, let's say, or as I ran through fences alone, I kick people's fences down. I kick their fences down, or else they have to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Or else we went around the whole neighborhood, or else we sprint 1 kilometer, and every single fence we do, or else every single fence. I mean, do you understand every single fence? I mean, we kick it down, or else we kick one down, or else we kick the other one down, or else we're just running and we're kicking the other one down, or else we're just running, or else we're terrorizing the whole neighborhood. You understand? Or else that's hilarious. You understand? Or else that's what we did growing up. But what's amazing, I love that. Or else we also went kicking mailboxes. Or else we were kicking mailboxes. Or else either way, you must understand. We run on roads in daylight. I mean in daylight, you understand? Or else we're kicking people's mailboxes. Or else now it's just hilarious when you're running and you say "Kaza" and you kick it and you're just gone, you understand? But what's amazing is you just go and you really kick it in silence and it falls off. or else the mailbox may be $300, you understand? But we kick it off. or else we kick off the actual mailbox. Although there's this one mailbox, or else I full sprint to kick this one, and in the air I kick it, but it doesn't move, or else it never moves, or else this one made me fall over, or else this one really got to me, or else now out of all the mailboxes I went to kick this one, but it never fell off. You understand? So what happened is, it's just a full fail. Do you understand? That's the way it is. You understand? So, whereas when you go and really jump on the mailbox and it never falls off, you understand? And you're fully sprinting, but then you trip over because of it, and then you start rolling around on the cement because of it. Do you understand? I realize, although those are just some nice, beautiful moments of my life, but what's amazing is just raise your voice a bit sometimes and let them complain. Understand? Never be afraid from people who are around you, who may be sleeping. Understand? So what's amazing is go and do your work, and when you're doing your work, focus upon making sure that you're loving your life. Understand? You never have to do what I do in terms of all these, or else they're not mistakes, or else that's me having fun. Or else you go and knife everybody's car tires at the function. That's hilarious. But just never be caught doing it. You understand? It's hilarious. You understand? Although just make sure you understand that you never have to do it. I'm not urging you to do it. You understand? Or else every single day just focus upon helping people in a way that you can either be more silent or you can be more loud. I was that loud child growing up. You understand? Or else now either way you must understand that the rugby days where I was playing rugby, or else one guy just fully tackles me on the cement. That's a bully. Understand? Or else now he may have been, or else he's an Islander, but guess what? Or else we're at high school, or else he goes and lifts me up fully and drops me on the cement. Come on. Understand? Although guess what? Or else that's how they play. Understand? Or else now just never play with bullies. Understand? Never play with those people. Or else it's touch footy. Touch footy on the cement and they actually tackle you. You understand? So either way, you must understand that what's amazing is if you're playing table tennis with other people, you make them win. You make them win, you understand? So what happens is if you're practicing table tennis in front of people and you're making all this noise, you must understand that it's really, really that you're much louder here. You are. Why? Because you're making sounds in front of them. You're making so much sound, you understand? Never be around people making sound at all. If this happens, you must focus upon making sure that you understand that if you're really playing tennis in front of people, or else, and you love tennis, or else now you go for it. But realize you're just loud. You understand? You're loud because you're making noise. Or else now I may be making noise and they may be hearing me right now. But it's the same thing as playing table tennis in front of people, but just with yourself. Or else now, if you're doing anything with yourself only, or else now you're only silent about it. You understand? You're only ever silent about it. You're alone. Although, you have to understand that sometimes people complain that it's you, or else they complain that you are alone doing what you do. How? Look, I pump up my music alone here. You understand? I pump up my music alone and they come and complain and say, hey, turn it off. You understand? So never live in hostels with other people. Or else, why do I live in hostels around the world? I mean, because I can afford it. I can afford this. I went around the whole Australia in terms of 9% or 90% around Australia. I went to Hobart, I went to Melbourne, I went to Adelaide, I went to Perth, I went to Sydney, I went to Melbourne, I went to Darwin, I went to Cairns, I went to Townsville, I went to Noosa, I went to Tasmania, Hobart, you understand? I went to Magnetic Island, I went to Noosa and Maroochydore and Mooloolaba. I'm here in Newcastle now, you understand? I went to Alice Springs, I went to Ayers Rock. I mean, do you understand? I mean, everything. I can afford it, but I'm living in hostels. I mean, in a sense, so either way, or else that's my success. You understand? But it's very loud now because you can hear me. You can hear me now. You understand? But it's very silent because most people never understand that. I mean, most people never hear that from me. You understand? Or else when a new individual looks at me, or else they never understand how much I've traveled. I mean, they never see my life. Or else they just see the surface. Or else now, if you have bigger muscles than other people, you're just speaking louder than them. You're speaking more success. Or else now, the more successful you are, the more you're like Jesus Christ. I promise you, it's that simple. You understand? You eventually have to become much more like Jesus Christ. You eventually have to. So if you die like Jesus Christ, and somebody shoots you or assassinates you, or if somebody shoots you or assassinates you, or else you just went out in style. You understand? Or else if you're the individual who passes away on your own time, but you have a great legacy, you're then the one who, let's say, went another way. You went another way, but you went Jesus' way. But they just never came across to you. You understand? You're one of the lucky ones. You understand? I understand Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. I understand they're very lucky, but they're very famous. Or else now Dr. Wayne Dyer, also. Or else they were never killed. Or else nobody kills them. You understand? Because why? Or else because they're smart. You understand? Because guess what? You must understand either way. You go that way. I promise you, you go Jim Rohn's way, but go and be much more successful. You understand? I promise you that what's amazing is understand that whatever you have in life, you must go and set it free. You must understand that there is eternity. I mean, never be afraid. I mean, if you want to be the loudest one, I mean, go ahead. I mean, just understand that most people will hate you, but just be alone anyway. I'm so silent now, but I'm just so alone. You know, I'm so alone. I'm silent. Whereas now, all I want to do is just be so loud. Whereas now, when I get so loud, I'm pretty sure other people want to kill me. I'd rather go out that way. I'd rather go out Jesus' way. Now, since either way, I understand that no matter what, you just realize this, that the more famous you become and the more loud you become about your success, or else the more people want to kill you. I promise you, it's just that kind of world. You understand? So either way, you must understand that if you desire to live such as my grandfather, who passes away at 93, but let's say he's very silent about life. I mean, very successful. I mean, lives over Zig Ziglar, or as Jim Rohn dies around 76, or Zig Ziglar dies around 86. Or as my grandfather, who's, let's say, never as famous as they are around the world. But my grandfather lives till 93. Whereas now, my grandfather is speaking much more success than Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn about this life. In other ways. You understand? Whereas understand that. Whereas now, does my grandfather go teaching people much about his life? Although around this area, but he doesn't go on the internet. You understand? Whereas he may have a phone, but he uses the landline. Whereas he's the old way. You understand? Whereas he never gets used to the technology side. You understand? So either way, you must understand those are different successes. I mean, Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn are much more successful than my grandfather in other ways. Like traveling around the world and being much more famous. You understand? Although my grandfather is much more successful by being silent, but living more in this lifetime. You understand? So choose your kind of lifestyle. I go for the long life, and for the loudest life. You have to understand it's the only life you can live. You have to be on the run. You have to be away from people as much as you can, but be the loudest. I promise you now, that's the game of life. You understand? I promise you, that's the game of life, where you have to be the loudest, but the most famous. I promise you, that's it. I promise you now, you have to be the loudest and most famous who lives the longest. I promise you, that's the game of life, because you realize that the more louder you become and the more famous, the more you have to stay away from people. You understand? Whereas the more successful you become, the more you have to stay away from other people. You understand? Whereas now, you can choose to be so successful, but be silent about it. You understand? I mean, now, if you choose to understand now, that if you choose to be so successful, but so silent, you will live a long life. I mean, ta-ta. You understand? You will live a long life if you choose to just be silent and get away from people and be more successful than yesterday. You will live a long life. I promise you, although if you choose to be so successful and to be loud and clear about that, you make sure you run away from people. But there are higher chances and higher risk that people will come and shoot you. You understand? I promise you, although, if you go and do this and you be loud and so successful and make it clear and be all the fame in the world, and also run away from people at the same time, you live even the longest lifestyle. You live longer than the one who be silent and more successful than yesterday, but longer life as well. Because this individual is at least famous, but you're silent about it. Understand? Although, I mean, long term, you're both famous and equal. You're both famous and equal. You're equal success. Although it's two different roads. You understand? Whereas one road is in front of people and making it clear that you're successful in this lifetime and that you want to be famous and to live your fame right now as you're alive. I mean, the other one says, hey, I want to live free from fame in this lifetime. But I understand that I'm just as equal as anybody else. But I have long popularity just as much as Jesus Christ. Long term. Or else now, just as much as Jesus Christ, or else we're equal. Or else Jesus and I are equal. Or else he's before I. Or else Jesus Christ came here before I. Or else if I came here before I, and I do the exact same as Jesus Christ, I promise you it's reversed. In terms of I have the same thing. You understand? I have actually Jesus Christ's lifestyle then. You understand? I promise you, if you do what Jesus Christ has done, you'll also be like Jesus Christ. You understand? Or else, although you realize this, you try to be the most successful. But understand that the more successful you become, whether silent or loud, the more you have to just be peaceful and run away from people. You understand? You can become so successful, but be so silent about it, and you'll realize that you have to run away from people anyway. You understand? You have to run away from people anyway. Because all they want to do is cause a devastation in your life. You understand? But guess what? I mean, they try to control you. I mean, they try to say, hey, we are printing money, or else we want you to work on a 9-to-5 job. Whereas now, if you are so silent about that, you realize that you have no popularity then, and then you have to go to a 9-to-5 way. You understand? Whereas that's the kind of way it is. Whereas then you have to work on a 9-to-5 way of life. Whereas now, if you never want to work on 9-to-5, you go Jesus' way, you be so above everybody that you let them shoot you. And that's that. I mean, yeah, you escape the 9-to-5. You understand? I mean, although, guess what? Or else it's that kind of world where you're either choosing fame or no fame. You must understand that if you choose no fame, you can live a happier life, but make sure you have plastic money. You understand? Because otherwise they tell you what to do. You understand? Otherwise they rule you over plastic money. I mean, never let them rule you over plastic money. You understand? I mean, make sure you're doing much more what you love to do. Otherwise now, I never want to work a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I die for that. I die for it. I can never stand this world who forces me to do something that I never want to do. You understand? I die for it right now. I just leave this world. I tell you right now, I have to go loud and clear. That's that. I never care if they shoot me. I never care. You understand? I promise you, although I understand how successful I am. I'm so successful. You understand? But guess what? I go out like Jesus. I go out in the best way. You understand? I realize who goes out like Jesus today in terms of life, in terms of just recently. You must understand, Jesus went out. You must understand, Tupac went out like Jesus. You understand? Or someone shot Tupac. You understand? Although, who else? I mean, John F. Kennedy and Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, 5 individuals. You understand? Or else George Floyd as well. I mean, shot dead. I understand George Floyd, although, or it's the same scenario. I mean, someone kills him. Whereas now, many people are getting killed today. You understand? Unfortunately, so many people around the world are getting killed. You understand? Or they're going out like Jesus as well, and they're silent about it. You understand? I mean, let's say they're never even famous like Martin Luther King Jr. You understand? And they're dying. I mean, they're getting killed in the cities. I mean, Pakistan over there, or they're chucking bombs everywhere in the Middle East. You understand? Or else ISIS and all that. You understand? So they're killing everybody, regardless. Or else they come and kill your wife and everything. I mean, and people who are silent as well. I mean, they're silent about life and they're getting killed. In a sense, so realize either way, you go and become famous and go and increase loudness. I mean, it's the ultimate opportunity. I mean, if you have the talents and abilities, I mean, go and do it. I mean, who cares about them? I mean, go and live your life.